The Dayton City Commission meeting will now come to order. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll also get time for the Kroc ROTC unit from Middledale High School to come after the prayer. Commissioner Turner Sloss will give the invocation this evening.
Will you all please join me and bow your heads? Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you with bowed heads and humble hearts. We thank you for this day. Lord, we ask that you continue to be with us, guide us, bless us with wisdom, discernment, understanding, and the knowledge to do the will for your people. Under your holy name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Please be seated. Commissioner Blackshear, may I have the roll call, please?
Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild. Aye. Turner Sloss.
Aye.
Okay. May I have a motion then to approve the minutes from the February 5th meeting?
So moved, Your Honor. Second, Your Honor.
Been probably moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the February 5th meeting. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Okay. Thank you. So, Ms. Blackshear, so what's the nature of this evening's meeting?
Mayor Mims, the sole order of business today is to present the annual State of the City address. Each year, a Dayton City Commission meeting is set aside for the purpose of reporting the state of the city, highlighting some of the accomplishments of the past year, and remarking on initiatives for the year ahead. I am informed that you will present your remarks and adjourn your meeting from your conversation.
Okay, thank you. So, Commissioners, we have a seat. Prepare for a video. What do Dayton residents want to see in their city? They want to see safe and stable neighborhoods that are growing and vibrant. They want to see business growth and innovative investments in the future. They want to see a vibrant downtown that is a true destination for all. They want to see a city that is the best place for someone to live, work, play, raise a family, be educated, and grow old. In short, the residents of Dayton want to see progress. And I'm proud to say that 2024 was a year of exciting growth and positive action. Hi, I'm Dayton Mayor Jeff Mims, and on behalf of our city commissioners, Daryl Fairchild, Matt Joseph, Chris Shaw, and Shanice Turner Sloss, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the 2025 State of the City Review. Many people see the city of Dayton as a singular entity, but the truth is we're comprised of 65 different and diverse neighborhoods, each with its own set of challenges, wants, and needs. Thriving neighborhoods are important to all of us. In 2024, I'm proud to say that our residents demonstrated trust in us by renewing Issue 6 by a 71% vote. This allowed us to continue to increase funding and essential support for neighborhood services. When our residents are safe and stable, our city will be as well. And that's why we devoted so much of our energy and resources into revitalizing our neighborhoods in 2024.
Old North Dayton, in this 5-year period, will see over $100 million of private and public investment. So the city has been approaching each of those opportunities as a partner, and they've been leveraging everything that they could to maximize the short-term impact, but also assure that we have long-term sustainable movement forward.
Over the last 3 years, major investments have been made in our Dayton neighborhoods through new housing development, home and infrastructure improvements, road repavement, and the removal of blighted structures. In 2024 alone, new housing was constructed in neighborhoods like Edgemont, Miami Chapel, and Wright Dunbar. Future projects are underway for 2025 in Old North Dayton, Five Oaks, and Wolf Creek. In addition, we have made our residents a priority through neighborhood investments with the use of Dayton Recovery Plan dollars. To date, over 2,400 repairs have been completed for a total of 102 households, and more are in the pipeline. We have created beautiful green spaces like the new Pocket Park in our Five Oaks neighborhood, and an updated police station, which is now under construction in West Dayton. Our partnerships also continues with the West Branch Dayton Metro Library and the Dayton Aviation Heritage National Historic Park. We are striving to make our neighborhoods more accessible and livable.
Collaboration with the City of Dayton, with our city leaders, is very important. To get the message out from our neighbors to them, to let them know, what is important to them, what they may feel might be an issue that they need to address.
We have heard the concerns of our residents and have demolished over 150 blighted structures across the entire city, improving the safety of our neighborhoods, making them more attractive for future development and increasing home ownership and investment.
People want to look at stuff that's pretty. It doesn't have to be shiny, just make it clean. Clean works. Just make it look nice. When something looks good, you feel better.
And the investment didn't stop there. We have made significant improvements on some of our major corridors, such as South Main Street, Salem Avenue, and residential street repavement to include curb and sidewalk improvements.
New business is bustling in our neighborhoods as well. New storefronts line the streets of the Wright Dunbar business corridor, while St. Anne's Hill continues to welcome charming new additions. On Gettysburg Avenue, we welcome an amazing community resource, the Homeful Healthy Living Center, a 48,000 square foot full-service grocery store, pharmacy, community meeting space, and a primary care doctor's office, which is in partnership with Kettering Health. Everybody wants the opportunity to live in a neighborhood of which they can be proud. With our investments in 2024, we're making Dayton a better place to live.
Because of our centralized location here in the Midwest, our affordable cost of living, and the strong work ethic of our people, the Dayton region has always been a desirable destination for commerce. In 2024, a number of major new industries and projects expanded into the city of Dayton.
At the Dayton International Airport, the Sierra Nevada Corporation, a global leader in aerospace and defense, continues their impressive growth. In addition to their recently constructed 90,000 square foot hangar and 8,000 square foot office complex, they cut ribbons in 2024 for hangar number 2 and broke ground for 2 more. Downtown, the Deneau Development Corporation made a $6.4 million investment into the former Entrepreneur Center in our Techtown area to house a new research and development facility. And near the University of Dayton campus, the old Montgomery County Fairgrounds space is being reimagined as the home for On Main, Ohio's second innovation hub. Envision a collaborative community where leading-edge anchor institutions and companies connect with startups, business incubators, and accelerators. The hub will lead to 2,000 new jobs, more than $39 million in additional state and local income tax revenue, and $500 million in new research dollars. In addition, On Main is estimated to produce 3,000 new STEM graduates and certificates.
When you bring high-tech companies to a region, especially like Dayton, and when you have the Air Force Research Lab headquartered here, the number of PhDs in our region is like the third highest in the country. And when you bring that intellect to the region, it's going to bring more attention and spotlight into our community, and it's going to make these companies like Sierra Nevada and Joby and others kind of look a little differently at Dayton and say, hey, what's going on there? Maybe we should be a part of this amazing community.
From our very beginning, our city has been the home of inventors, visionaries, and dreamers. It's in our DNA. By welcoming creative new business and partnership opportunities, we will remain a hotbed for world-class collaboration and innovation. Dayton, Ohio continues to be the birthplace of Next.
Our downtown area is a core and economic center for the city of Dayton and our region. In 2024, we accelerated our downtown investments, proving that when our economy is vibrant, our entire city benefits.
Housing opportunities in downtown Dayton have never been so plentiful. Last year, 353 housing units were added or anticipated to be completed. Another 251 units are currently under construction, with 436 more in the pipeline ready to start. For visitors passing through, we've never been more accommodating. In 2024, downtown Dayton added 221 new hotel rooms, 362 are still under construction, and 413 more are in the works. As more people move into downtown, more businesses are seeing greater opportunity as well. In 2024, 28 new businesses opened their doors, recognizing the importance of being in the city center.
We're a very resilient city, and I feel like this city has so much potential, not only in the people, but in the environments that we can curate, in the spaces that we can create as individuals for other individuals. And we're just glad to be a part of it and along for the ride, and we're here for the long ride, so yeah.
Today, our downtown remains dynamic and ever-changing, a mixture of cherished history and also more promising possibility than we've seen in decades.
We're proud of all that the city of Dayton has accomplished in 2024.
And we're excited about the momentum we're taking with us in 2025.
In the year ahead, we're committed to working together to continue the positive progress.
And we're listening closely to you, our friends and neighbors, to help drive our own vision.
How do you envision the best Dayton?
To me, the best possible Dayton, it's pretty simple. I know how important it is to have a strong urban core, because without a strong urban core, the region does not succeed.
And whether you're dealing with economic development, community development, whether you're dealing with community engagement, the city manager's office, or the commission itself.
Make all of Dayton special. Teacher told me in school, when you do something on this side in algebra, you got to do the same thing on this side. So do it everywhere. You know, make sure that you're doing it for everybody.
So the best possible Dayton looks like the diamond that we always know what it is, collectively, like as our community, but for other people to start seeing us and for our shine to really radiate.
I think my vision of a great Dayton would be one in which we all communicate with one another and we all recognize the fact that we need each other and we need to depend on each other. It takes all of us.
Although there's much more to do, let's work together to make our collective vision a true reality in 2025.
Good evening, and thank you all for being here. My name is Darius Beckham, and I'd like to welcome you to the 2025 State of the City. Tonight, you will hear from the mayor in the form of a conversation. This year, our conversation will be facilitated by Community Voice, Ms. Fran Robinson. Please welcome Fran to the stage. And now to introduce our mayor. Mayor Mims joined the Dayton City Commission in 2014 and was elected mayor of Dayton in 2021. For the past 40 years, he is committed to improving the quality of life for Dayton citizens through education. He has served in various educational roles throughout his career, including teacher, coach, Dayton Public Schools Director of Government Relations, DPS Board of Education President, Ohio Board of Education, Dayton Education Association President, and more. His diverse work included garnering support for equitable funding of Ohio's public schools, and his efforts helped pave the way for Ohio's new school facilities program. Since becoming mayor, he was named chair of the National League of Cities Education Task Force. Mayor Mims is also a Vietnam vet and a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated. He is happily married to Tony Mims, and he has 2 children and 3 grandchildren. Please welcome back to the stage, Mayor Jeffrey Mims.
Good evening. Good evening. Come on, one more time. Nice and loud. You know I like that. One more time. Good evening.
Good evening.
That's so much better. So much better. Appreciate it. Okay. How you doing?
You ready for me to start?
I'm ready.
Mayor, the video is inspiring. It really is. It shows partnership, collaboration. There's a strong message from our city leaders. Before we get started, I know that you want to say a few thank yous.
Yes. First of all, something my wife, don't want to forget her. I want to get back home in the house this evening. Tony sitting over here in the corner with her daughter and 2 of our grandkids. So it's a pleasure to have her here as well. And then, of course, I have my commissioners. Please stand again so everybody see you again. I appreciate you guys. So it's teamwork. Appreciate that. And of course, we have that great team in the office. You guys, please stand as well. They're the ones led by Ms. Jackson. Okay. Then, of course, I have a city manager, her team. Please stand as well. Shelley Dickstein, Joe, Lachey, Lofton. Okay. And all the city employees, please give a stand, please, because you guys make us look good, so it's not us.
Oh, wow.
Police chief. So you notice the police chief and his team and the firefighters are sitting on opposite sides of the aisle, but don't worry, they all work together. Okay, I think we do good, except for when the police chief and I won the fireman's golf tournament a couple of years ago, and they were a little frosty at that. But other than that, we get along well. Okay. So it's just great being here. Thank you guys so much.
Okay. I want to go back to the video and reference the success that we saw there. I know that you've worked hard and the community has worked hard and everyone, really putting that together. What have you been most proud of?
Going back early, turn the clock back, if you will, look at the kinds of things that happened with this city. That none of us had any control over or any input in that happening. Redlining, job losses, we look at situations as far as the state was concerned. There was a time, not too long ago, where Ohio was #1 in job losses, and they were 49th in job creation. We looked at 49th in African American graduation rates, and these are national stats. We also looked at the fact that we were #1, Montgomery County was #1 in terms of foreclosure crisis, as well as #1 in terms of the whole situation with predatory lending. That type of backdrop that we are functioning under. And then you add to that 32 years of no new funding. So when we passed the tax increase in 2016, it was Dayton's first tax increase in 32 years. Think about that, 32 years. So I'm excited about that. But going back to last year, because what those dollars did for us, they gave us the type of resources that allowed us to cut grass and vacant lots and thoroughfares more often than we were doing. I think we're once a month, up to now 2, sometimes 3 times a month. And then the aspect of fixing all the residential streets in Dayton. I know some of you say now that my street's not fixed. I still got some potholes in my street right now. Well, understand, the only way for the streets to stay perfectly smooth and clean with no potholes is for you to wait till we fix them and then you just don't write on them anymore. Okay? But we know that's not possible. But the aspect of looking at that work and then doing something that no other city had done, and that was supporting our preschool education component in the city, because the aspect of young people coming to school in the county, and our thanks to the county for helping with that as well. I think we have some county commissioners who are here. Debbie, and I know, Mary is here. But the aspect of the support that we got in getting that tax renewal passed was special for us. And so having that done, because 2/3 of our kids were coming to school 2 and 3 years behind their developmental skills, and 80% of them were coming to us in Dayton Public Schools. So the aspect of giving our young people a better start by passing that tax increase in 2016, and then to bump it up in 2024, like we did last year, and to pass that at a 71% rate. 71% rate. Now, thank you. Okay. Now, even though you got some applause, there was still a jive of applause, as Art Thomas used to say. But let me ask you again to think about that. 71%. So when I talk to pastors, I go to different churches, of course, throughout the Sunday, and they say something very special, and the choir or members of the church don't say amen. He asked the question again. He said, y'all didn't hear me. Okay, so I want you to understand and act like you heard me. 71% passage rate. Okay?
Amen.
Thank you. Good.
Amen.
All right, good. Okay, so this past year, in 2024, when we passed that, not only did we do the same thing we had done with parks, recreation, police, fire support, and the whole thing in terms of preschool, but we also added some additional money, another component with the housing. And so again, thanks to my commissioners for supporting that as well, because that moved us to another level of addressing the issue that's near and dear to us and the city, the county, and again, across the nation, because housing is a major, major problem that we have throughout the nation, and none of us has figured out the exact solve for that problem, but we continue to work on it. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And thank you again for your support and passage rate.
Mayor, I just want to touch on that percentage. What does that tell you about the support that you have in this community?
Well, what it says clearly is that you understood, you understand. You have seen us move from what I said before in terms of a city that had no tax increase for 32 years. You've seen businesses that were not engaged, that were not involved. And at the point in time when we decided to make that passage rate, again, going back to 2016, and then having it renewed in 2024, business leaders are looking at us. They're saying this community is concerned enough, they think enough of their city to vote a tax on themselves. And they see that happening. And understanding that we've had some tax situations that have moved away from us. For example, our local government fund, that we had nothing to do with that, and losing $12 million in that space back in 2014. You know, again, we just had to suck it up. We couldn't come to you and cry and say, okay, they took our money from the state, they took money from here. We just had to suck it up. So we thank again our staff for finding ways, and some of our departments even combined to do the work that they were doing. So instead of having to go out and put out proposals, et cetera, and contracts, we were able to have our staff come together to identify how they can resolve some of those issues together. Yeah. Thank you.
I've heard you mention in a number of messages and in the work that you do in the community about our young people, investing in our youth. Talk about that and why you're so adamant about that.
Okay. Well, there's a song that I have, my favorite song. Okay. Now, I know some of you probably have heard me sing and you're frowning, but no, I'm not going to sing it. Okay. But that's, yeah, thank you. but it's George Benson and Whitney Houston, the song "The Greatest Love of All." And again, I will not sing it, but I will give you just a few phrases, if you will. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside, and give them a sense of pride to make it easier. And let the children's laughter remind us of how we used to be. When you think about those words and think about what we're trying to do, again, in conjunction with Dayton Public Schools, in conjunction with CJ, in conjunction with the charter schools, all of them, working together because I don't discriminate with them. And I thank those organizations that have been a part of helping me with the young people that we take to Sinclair, and they meet and they talk about issues that are affecting them. Mental health, unfortunately, is the number one issue that they talk about, mental health. And then we talk about, of course, mentoring. We talk about the aspect of jobs and careers, and then the aspect of civic engagement. And also taking them to vote sometimes for the first time in their lives, of course. And many of them bringing their parents. And they talk about the issue that's important to them. And then we share information about quality of life. Those communities that vote the most get the most. We talk about the aspect of what are quality of life indicators. Again, safety, police, fire, jobs, healthcare, housing, those type of things. So they put a pin in it, a connection, if you will. So this is what I'm going to school for. And as I talk to educators and I talk to business leaders, if we get more and more of our young people to go to school every day on time, learn how to lead, learn how to follow, learn how to be involved in that process, and then in turn, when they graduate, they're able to go to school, college, if you will, they're able to go to the military, going to tech school, or any one of those combinations. That's what we need. If you're not falling into some of those categories, then you are creating a drain on our city, a drain on our social resources, those communities that do the things, and agencies that are doing everything they can to help make Dayton the best place for someone to live, work, play, be educated, raise a family, and grow old. So we take it from that particular perspective. And myself, on a personal basis, because both of my children graduated from Dayton Public Schools, and they're making more money than me, and I appreciate that, okay? That's the whole purpose of this whole situation. But I like to think about how we together can create the kind of community for all the children that we have as if every child was our own. If you think about that from that perspective, you find ways of coming together, working together as a team, again, to make Dayton the best place, again, to live, work, play, be educated, raise a family, and grow old.
So you're saying there are opportunities in Dayton for our young people. Talk about those opportunities.
Yeah, we got 3 jobs for every young person that we have in the city. 3 jobs. Yeah, thank you. 3 jobs. And see, and that doesn't come without a lot of work, and like I mentioned before, a lot of work from our partners that we have in this whole process. And so when I look around and I talk to people who are out there in the spaces that are doing things, even that you go to the Chamber, Dayton Development Coalition, Jobs Ohio, all these type of things are happening because Dayton is hot right now. Dayton is hot. And when you talk to business leaders, you talk to those who are standing on the sidelines, got millions of dollars in their hands and in their pockets, and I want it out of their pockets into ours, if you will, for lack of another phrase. But the aspect of how it's continuing to help us raise our median income. And again, that's one of the messages that I try to give to not just the young people, but to adults as well. And if you want a high quality of life, it goes hand in hand with raising your median income. And as we talk about those companies that are coming to Dayton, that are here already, sometimes doing work already, the On Main project was $38 million, 2,000 jobs over the old fairgrounds location. Then you're looking at Jovi Aviation that's out at the airport, another 2,000 jobs, and guess what? $500 million investments in the city of Dayton. That's another amen moment, okay? And then, of course, Sinclair is another partner with this because they have a hangar that they built out at the airport. And so the training for many of our young people involved in those spaces. And these are $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 jobs, and many of them are requiring no college education. So there's no college debt, if you will, after having young people go through some of those processes.
So when you think about businesses and jobs coming to Dayton, you are saying, or maybe I'm asking you, is Dayton important to the region?
Dayton's a hub. Dayton's a hub. Many of you who have been here for a while will remember some of the kinds of things, 2020 Project and more, of where it seemed to be a concentrated effort of moving resources out of Dayton, out of downtown Dayton in particular. And these things were happening in conjunction with job losses that we're experiencing as well, especially manufacturing jobs. So as we look in terms of what's happening Again, I'll go back to some of our area schools and our colleges, because Wright State, UD, Central State, Wilberforce are all engaged in gearing up their aviation-related programs because they're trying to make a match to have our young people ready for those who may go to college. And in some of those programs that they have in those spaces, again, are not all four-year programs. But it's all geared up to try to move Dayton into the next century with more and more of our young people who are in spaces of being able to make their contribution to our community.
Let's take a look further into 2025. I want to have you talk a little bit about the Peace Campaign, and that's sort of an umbrella in terms of what will happen, and then there are initiatives under that. But let's just start with explaining the Peace Campaign.
Well, first of all, what would you like as far as peace is concerned? What does peace mean to you? Because the aspect of how we think about having a community where each and every person feels valued. You feel valued yourself, you have a set of God-given skills that you want to bring to the table, and you want yourself, your friends, your neighbors, your offspring, you want them to feel like they're capable of going any place that's in the city, any place, and feeling like they're safe, they're comfortable in terms of that process. And when we're doing this in Dayton, and we're making that demonstration that we're willing to make the investment into that, which we have, and we're moving very quickly now. I think we'll have some people from Cure Violence Global who will be on the ground to help us with the violence component that we're working on in just this next month. And then hopefully be able to make some things happen seriously once they finish doing the assessments of all the youth serving organizations, like we have Omega CDC, we have the Victory Project, we have Boys and Girls Club. Again, we have our schools, all of them working together with us to help us in these spaces. So the health department will be putting together, they'll be the ones who will be running this whole project and having culturally sensitive people trained experts who will be on the ground interacting and doing things that we may not even know about, but they'll be developing relationships to keep some of the back and forth violence issues that are happening across the city and again across the nation, to keep them from going back and forth with that violence. And the reason why we've looked at this situation with Cure Violence is because of the fact of having the data of seeing this result in so many elements of reduction of violence in different cities. You know, Philadelphia, Toledo, New York, and others. That those situations are happening. And I understand those situations with the cell phones. Don't feel embarrassed. Because we got some commissioners that do it from time to time ourselves. So that's good, I understand. But the aspect of seeing how violence has been reduced by as much as 20% in some of the earlier years, like first, second year, in terms of that happening. And now this is not something that we want to do for just one term or for 1 year. We want Dayton to be the most peaceful city in the world on a continuous basis. And just think about if people from outside, because we already talked about the fact that Dayton is a hub, from Springboro to Springfield, we have gained a leadership, if you will, with city leaders from each of these particular locations outside of Dayton to be a part of this movement. And as we go to Washington, D.C. with the Dayton Development Coalition every year, we're talking to legislators on both sides of the aisle about the different types of things and investments that they can make as far as Dayton is concerned. So that's something that we'll continue to do. I'm not sure how it's going to roll out with some of the new things that are happening in D.C., but we're going to do our part, okay, because we have to represent you. Yeah.
You put a lot in there.
I know, I'm sorry.
You put a lot in there. And you didn't give me an opportunity to get some other questions in there.
Okay, all right, I got you.
Okay. But I want to say now, it sounds ambitious.
Yes.
It really does. And you put some other things in there that we'll come back to in just a few minutes. But how are we going to get there?
By hard work. Hard work. Because we don't have a choice, honestly. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait for one more child, one more adult, or anyone to find themselves in that situation. One of the more challenging news conferences I had last year, I remember it very specifically, June 26th, because that was my granddaughter's birthday, her 16th birthday. And earlier in that day, I'm having a news conference about a 16-year-old young man who lost his life. And you think about that. You think about that situation. So I'm thinking, okay, we're talking about this, which is very serious, very necessary to share this information, to share clearly compassion, concern about what's happening in that particular space. And then I'm thinking, in a fleeting moment, later on this evening, I'm going to try to celebrate my 16-year-old granddaughter's birthday. Those are the type of situations that I know our police, our fire, those individuals who are working in some of these life and death type situations have to be prepared to deal with, and how we want to try to prevent those type of situations from happening again to anyone else. So it's hard work, and we can't afford to waste additional time, but we want to do it right. Of course, we have to do it right, but we want to do everything we can to prevent one more person, one more human being, one more family from having to experience that kind of pain.
It's not a. Oh.
Thank you.
We talked about this earlier. It may not be immediate, but it's ongoing. Can you talk about that in terms of time frame?
Definitely ongoing. Like I said, I mentioned that before. This is something that we want to happen on an indefinite basis, and not just a hit or miss. And let's try it, then let's try something else, let's try something else. The reason why we're looking at Cure Violence Global, it's a global organization, like I mentioned before, but they have systemic positive results. Now, some, again, have had the results of growth, if you will, on minimizing violence by 50%, okay? And we hope to get there. I want 20, if we can start with that, 40, 60, 70, 80. I want to be the best, okay? I want us to be the best because you, citizens, and our kids deserve the best, and that's what we're going to work towards.
Can you share some of the initiatives that Cure Violence will actually have in our city?
Yeah. We hope to go through a situation with the health department, and from that perspective to have them identify the community-based organizations or organization that they will hire to actually go through and perform the work. We'll consistently get information from our police and fire relative to the hot spots, but they will not be running the program. And so that will give us a chance to share what's actually happening throughout the city, because that's part of their responsibility, and they will have that information, if you will. But the aspect of having that information so that the individuals, the professionals who are involved in that space will not be directed, if you will, by police, but they will have this, like I said, this community-based organization that they will report to and they will align themselves with and do many things that we may not know that they're doing. Because this is hoping to address some of the hardcore violence issues or causes that we have as far as our community is concerned.
When we talk about important spaces, let's talk about the neighborhoods. Okay. And how important the neighborhoods are to our community.
Well, it's foundational. It's foundational. If, for example, I think you may have heard some reference to that in the video that we saw earlier, the aspect of people who are going back and forth in a space that does not look the way they would like for it to look. You know, streets, again, we talked about the residential streets that we pave. That's part of the beautification process. The parks and in our neighborhoods, again, they're accessible, where kids are comfortable in being able to play in those areas. And then the aspect of helping people understand, like I mentioned earlier in one of the earlier groups, more and more citizens are involved in cleanup projects to, again, beautify their community so that when they leave home, come back home, that is something that they are looking forward to. And because of the decay that we talked about earlier in my comments, things happen in terms of foreclosure rates and people leaving, not taking care of certain things, housing that we've torn down because those things are important, and even more to go. I think we are like 340, 350, and we have another series to go for the next couple of years, another probably 500 to go in that process. But the aspect of being able to leave home feeling comfortable, come back home feeling comfortable. And more of our citizens are doing these cleanup projects on their own. And more is happening in those spaces. And not only are they cleaning their neighborhoods, but they're also talking about, well, what if we just stop throwing trash down? We wouldn't have to pick as much of it up. And so that attitude is happening as well. So those type of things are happening because more and more of our citizens are engaged in wanting to keep their neighborhoods clean and safe. And as we talked about the ARPA funds in that process, part of what we did with that was to ask the citizens where we felt their priorities were. And that was our number one priority, was how do we find ways of tearing down vacant nuisance properties and then being able to replace them with other things that were happening in those spaces.
When you think about the peace campaign and cure violence in relationship to the neighborhoods, what will be different?
Well, they're safe. The citizens are feeling safe. They're feeling safe for their family members to leave home, go to school, go to work, and they're feeling safe coming back home from work or school. They're feeling safe to be able to play. They're feeling safe to be able to have a drink, cup of coffee, sit in the backyard or the front yard, or just talk and engage with some of their neighbors. And it continues to spread. All the things that we're talking about from the aspect of peace continue to spread and be contagious.
I want to bring some emphasis back to why now. You touched upon it a little bit, but talk about why now,
Yeah.
Why the peace campaign right now?
Well, it's never too late to start. And I can't wait, as I mentioned earlier, I can't wait for another negative situation to happen. So starting now is the best time to address that.
When you think about the community as a whole, I know that you have community leaders involved, you have organizations that are working together in this project. How can local citizens or other organizations that want to be a part of the peace campaign get involved?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that. So it's DaytonPeace.org, DaytonPeace.org. And so that way, if you have not been involved in the process thus far, you can get involved and stay involved. Because we will need all of you to be involved in that process as we move forward and try to find things to happen, because all of us will benefit. And as I mentioned before, I think about those young people and those who have gray hair like myself to come down the line, and I want them to go any place in Dayton, and feel safe.
When you think about the rest of 25 and moving forward, talk about the city in terms of the future.
Well, again, like I mentioned about the future, the investment that we have continuously raising the median income and being able to help our citizens, our younger citizens, all identify with the fact that if you want a high quality of life, you raise the median income. And I think I mentioned before that those communities that have the highest medium salary have the highest quality of life. And I'm happy for them. I'm not mad, I'm happy for them. Mm-hmm. So when I look around the neighborhoods, I look around the region, I am tickled for them. I just want the same thing for our citizens in Dayton as well.
What's the best part of being the mayor?
People have an opportunity to be here and actually thank so many people for some of the opportunities that they've given me and my family, and looking out and having, again, as a former teacher, seeing my former students do well, and seeing some of my former students with their families and their young kids, and for me to tell stories about how their mother and father were in my classroom.
Stories.
Or in some cases, how they were on my track team and my soccer team, okay? I have those stories as well. And it's a real joy. It's a real joy in seeing those things happen. So, no, I'm really happy for it. So I really thank you, all of you, because of giving me this opportunity and being blessed to be in this space. And I told people that they're probably, probably about 98, 99% of the people that I have so many great relationships with. And for the 1% or 2%, they just don't know me well enough yet. So you just hang around, okay? We'll make it happen, all right?
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, no, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. In the next decade, I believe Dayton will become one of the best cities in the world to live, work, play, raise a family, be educated, and grow old. But that vision will only become a reality when we take unified steps to address violence in our communities, especially youth violence.
A lot of people they look at the news, they see what's happening every day, but they're in their own worlds, they're working with their own children and jobs and home, and it's bringing them into the bigger picture to see like there is a significant increase in crime and violence, and not just look at it as a number, that each one of those statistics represent a person, represent a family that's traumatized by that, and that we need more and more community members and youth and families to be a part of the solution, not just, a statistic.
I'm proud of the steps the City of Dayton has already taken to fund a violence intervention program that will begin in 2025. Additionally, I will continue convening my annual youth summit of nearly 300 students from all Dayton area high schools. But now more than ever, Dayton needs to unite to collectively promote peaceful solutions to our conflicts. That's why in 2025, we're launching a peace campaign that will help our residents renew their pride in our city. We'll be working closely with community leaders to develop programs and initiatives that will address the common goal of nurturing peace in the city of Dayton. Through this collaboration, we hope to identify the root causes of violence, invest in youth development, and create safe spaces for all of us to enjoy.
I've gotten to know some of these young people through the work that we've been doing in monthly work group meetings throughout the Hope Zone in Northwest Dayton. And the response that I've had from them and heard from these young people is that they want to have a peaceful city. They want to live in a place where they're safe. They want to be a part of the solution. They don't want something to be done to them. And they absolutely believe that there is something worth fighting for in their community to make it a better place.
The City of Dayton's Peace Campaign will help us to look inwardly to the challenges and solutions of reducing violence in our city. Gandhi once said, "You cannot shake hands with a clenched fist." This year, we will unclench our fists, open our arms, and work together to unite the entire city with the common goal of making Dayton the most peaceful city in the world. Please join us on this new pathway to peace.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Fran. To close out this evening, we will have a special performance by Dayton's recently announced and first ever Poet Laureate, Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is a multi-talented artist, poet, educator, and community leader. She is a Governor's Award winner, a Kennedy Center Artist Fellowship finalist nominee, the executive director and co-founder of the Home of Urban Creative Arts, and the co-founder of Signature Educational Solutions. Sierra's words have been incorporated in murals and memorials throughout this city, including the 8-4 Memorial in our Oregon district. Please help me welcome to the stage Sierra Leone for a reciting of Langston Hughes' "Give Us Our Peace."
Good evening, Mayor, commissioners, city officials, leaders, community members, residents. It is an absolute honor. My heart is beating, pounding with Gem City pride. I send you greetings from the home of Paul Laurence Dunbar. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge known and unknown poets who have come before me. Poetry has taken me across the world, even beyond the arc of time, and this esteemed privilege will amplify my ability to share the gift of poetry with our community. It's an honor to trail in the legacy of our beloved Paul Laurence Dunbar and Dr. Herbert Martin. The piece I'm going to read tonight was written by Langston Hughes in 1945. So we've been doing this work for a very, very long time. Give us a peace equal to war, or else our souls will be unsatisfied. And we will wonder what we have fought for and why the many died. Why the many died. Give us a peace of accepting every challenge, the challenge of the poor, of the denied, the challenge of the vast colonial world that long has had so long and little justice by our side. Give us a peace that dares us to be wise. Give us a peace that dares us to be strong. Give us a peace that dares us still uphold throughout the peace our battles against wrong. Give us a peace that is not cheaply used, a peace that is no clever scheme, a people's peace for which all can enthuse, a peace that brings reality to our dream. Give us a peace that will produce great schools as the war produced great armament, a peace that will wipe out the slums as war wiped out our foes on evil bent. Give us a peace that will enlist a mighty army serving mankind, not just an army geared to kill, but trained to help the living mind, an army trained to shape our common good and bring about a world of brother and sisterhood. Give us a peace, not death and gloom. Give us a peace with a fragrant bloom. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. Well, again, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate you. And let's give Sierra Leone another round of applause. Okay. So again, thank you all being here. Hatred for none, love and peace for all. Thank you so much. For no further business to come from this commission, this meeting is adjourned. Okay.